millions of Americans stand to lose access to their right to vote.
Every single human being deserves to be respected and honored.
I say we can move mountains because we always have.
Today, we have a protest that has been organized outside of the White House by People for the American Way and League of Women Voters, calling on the Biden administration to take this threat seriously, to use the bully pulpit to push the For the People Act across the finish line. There are at least 49 votes in support of it in the Senate. Joe Manchin has since said that he is supportive of a particular version of it. We haven't seen the details of that, but that's still 10 short of what you would need to overcome a filibuster. And so the question for Biden is, what do you value more, democracy in this country or the filibuster in the Senate? And that's what these protesters are here to say.
We are planning on engaging in civil disobedience today. We really are expecting President Biden to follow through on his commitment to ensure voting rights for everybody in this country. He's been able to do it with the infrastructure package. He's been able to use his will to be able to withdraw troops from Afghanistan. He can get voting rights passed. We are going to continue to push, and we're not going to just turn up the heat in August. We're going to keep the heat going in September, October, November, as long as it takes to get this legislation passed. I mean, in the civil rights movement decades ago, they didn't stop just because they weren't getting the attention. They kept on doing the work quietly, and we will continue to do it as loudly as we can until people listen.
Our voting rights are under attack like we have not seen since the days of Jim Crow.
This is literally around how we're going to create a nation that we deserve, that we envision, that we have worked for to build, that has not yet been realized. That is what this moment is about. At the end of the day, we're going to transform not only this White House, not only everybody that is in here, but when the people rise, change happens. Every single human being deserves to be respected and honored. This nation spent $1 trillion on a 20-year war, supposedly in the name of democracy. So why the hell do we have to be out here in the sun fighting for something as basic as voting rights?
Biden, he owes that to us. His ass would not be sitting in that White House if it wasn't for those of you out here and the millions others who voted for him. They ought to make sure that they change that filibuster to take care of the most fundamental constitutional right every single one of us has in the United States, and that's the right to vote. Be prepared to make this moment a movement.
You have been told some myths, and you are being fed some lies. You're being told that all of these bills in state houses around the country are designed to preserve the integrity, the sanctity of the vote. That's a myth. That's a lie. The filibuster has racist roots and racist traditions. There's a final myth. A myth is that we're out here wasting our time, that it's just a few of us, that nobody hears us, that it doesn't matter. I say we can move mountains because we always have.
Mr. President, we got problems right here that need to be fixed. The vote in America needs to be fixed. Democracy in America needs to be fixed to move our nation forward, to regain our self-respect. We must make sure that we stop these voting suppression bills.
The far right wing has had a 60, 70-year movement to get to where they are right now, where they control 2/3 of the states, not just for this redistricting cycle, but for the last one. And so they're building. When I came into Washington as president of the NAACP in 2008, and the Republicans had just lost the White House, over at the RNC, they were celebrating because they had just taken all these governorships. They're playing chess and we're playing checkers. And nothing's going to happen unless the president of the United States himself ups the pressure on these senators. You have folks like Manchin and Sinema who are far more concerned about their political career than they are about the voting rights of their neighbors. Arizona recently joined Georgia and Texas as one of the states where the state's politicians can overrule the people. Sinema knows, and she needs to stand up with that courage. The person who can give her that courage, honestly, is the president of the United States. I want to thank the tens of thousands who are watching us live stream right now. and the more than 400,000 who signed the petitions that we delivered to the White House 2 weeks ago. The White House knows what this is about. This is a moment when this movement is escalating because we have pleaded, we have asked politely, and we've received no joy as we've watched voting rights bills introduced in states across the country.
Ain't gonna let the filibuster turn me around, don't let it turn me around. Don't let it turn me around, ain't gonna let the filibuster march it up to freedom's land. Ain't gonna let injustice turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let injustice march it up to freedom's land.
We are symbolically tied ourselves to this fence to send a message. Shut it down.
What do we want?
Voting rights.
When do we want them?
Now.
We aren't going anywhere. We will be back. We will be back.
Back in the 1965, when Lyndon Johnson was facing a test on civil rights legislation, his advisors told him, if you push too hard, this is going to cost you badly at the polls. He famously, perhaps apocryphally, but famously said to them, well, what the hell is the presidency for? He pushed ahead and he rammed it through Congress. And that is the only way that we got the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act, because of the president's determination. You need everything else to line up too, but you also need the president pushing hard. So what the hell is the presidency for? That's now a question for Joe Biden.